All right, folks, making major headlines yesterday was the fact that the U.S. women's national team filed a suit with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission alleging discrimination by U.S. soccer. The issue is that women players make far less money winning the World Cup than the men's team for losing it. However, a closer analysis of the facts revealed that this is far from the case. Soccer is a global business, and FIFA, soccer's governing body, is far more generous percentage-wise for women than it is for men. While much outrage was generated when it was discovered that FIFA awarded Germany $35 million for winning the 2014 World Cup, that event generated $4.8 billion in revenue, according to Business Insider. For the U.S. women, FIFA awarded them $2 million in 2015, but the revenue generated in that World Cup was only 98 million Canadian dollars, or approximately $75 million US. In comparison, the previous women's championship, Germany 2011, generated 50.6 million euros, or the equivalent at that time of 73 million US. Broken down as a share of the revenue spoils, Germany's men's team received a little more than 0.7%, while the U.S. women received 2.67% of the cut, or roughly 4 times more per capita than the German men. Compared specifically against the compensation rate doled out by the U.S. Soccer Federation between the men and women's teams, the issue is a bit more muddy due to lack of transparent statistics. According to U.S. Soccer's forecast for the period between April 2016 and March 2017, both the men and the women will generate roughly the same per game revenue. However, this equivalence is based on skewed seasonality trends. The women are coming off a World Cup victory while the men are just starting their campaign. When adjusted for seasonality, there just isn't that much financial demand for women's soccer. Everyone recognizes that the women's game is different from the men's game in terms of speed, athleticism, and intensity. Even if we were to irrationally concede that the two games are identical, their underlying business platforms are completely different. The men's team operates as a cash flow business. They make money on volume and reinvest a majority of the revenue earned in driving that volume higher. The women's game is a bottom line business. It is simply not in a position right now to compete on volume and may not be for another century. Where they can compete is on margin. Pound for pound, the women's team is more profitable than the men's team by far. However, raising the salaries of the women's team would necessitate raising ticket prices and advertising fees, which would then alienate their core audience. On surface level, the U.S. women's team's suit appears to have merit. Underneath the noise, however, it's clear that this is nothing more than a feminist agenda advantaging the climate of political correctness.